All right, check, 1, 2, check, test, 1, 2. All right, we are live, folks. Welcome back. This is your friend and host, PCJ, the Pop Culture Junkie, a.k.a. the Pro Wrestling Junkie, here for a brand new episode of Spoiler, Recap, and Results. This week, we are talking about WWE Extreme Rules. We just had the Extreme Rules pay-per-view live on the WWE Network. Did they go extreme? Did they go full hardcore? They got close. It wasn't too bad. It wasn't a bad show, actually. It was entertaining. There were some good spots, good moments. They paid off a few things, which was nice. And then we had some interesting outcomes. So we're going to dive right in, discuss the entire show. We're going to start from the very beginning with the kickoff show. We go to the kickoff panel. We've got Jonathan Coachman, Charlie Caruso, Hall of Famer Beth Phoenix, and Sam Roberts. Of course, this is where they discuss their predictions for all the matches coming up in the evening. Beth Phoenix, she seemed like she was really nervous or just not prepared because she was flubbing a lot of times. She even mistook Roman Reigns for Seth Rollins when she was discussing the Undertaker Roman Reigns tag team match for the main show. It just seemed like she was either just tripping over her own words or wasn't prepared properly. I don't know. So during the kickoff, we get a backstage segment where we see Kevin Owens arrive at the arena. He announces that he has a match tonight against Dolph Ziggler, which, by the way, if you don't follow Kevin Owens or Dolph Ziggler on Twitter, you missed out on their Twitter war. That's right, they got a beef going, Twitter war beef, as the kids call it, where they were, sending out smack memes to each other. It was kind of entertaining. I like how Kevin Owens replied to Ziggler's last post saying how, hey, if you're going to insult me, do it right. Put the right photos in order. If you saw it, you know what I mean. It was funny. I liked it. But he is letting them know we got a match tonight for Ziggler versus Owens, just last minute. It's not an Extreme Rules match or anything like that. It's just a match, so we know that's going to happen later. We then get another backstage segment with Baron Corbin and Lacey Evans. They're sitting around a tea time area. It's like, wasn't that Becky Lynch's gimmick? Corbin is wearing a shirt that you would think he borrowed from The Rock in 1999. It was crazy. Wild and just bizarre. It's the strangest thing we've seen him wear, and we're talking about a guy who collects human skulls for a hobby. That's a fact, by the way. So we go back to ringside, and we have our first match of the night, which is the WWE Intercontinental title match. Shinsuke Nakamura is challenging the champion, Finn Balor. Balor goes for the coup de grace, but Shinsuke rolls out of the way and hits Finn with a knee to the back of the head. He then hits the Kinshasa, as Corey Graves likes to scream, gets the pin, 3 count, and Shinsuke Nakamura is our new Intercontinental Champion. Great for Shinsuke. Bad for Balor, who's had a really, uneventful and MIA title reign. I mean, he's been off TV how long? He was at the Super Showdown, and that was about it. I don't know what he's been doing otherwise, because he's just not been on Raw or SmackDown much in the last several weeks, actually. But overall, this was a decent match. It wasn't anything too crazy or wild. It was just a decent match, so it wasn't bad, but it just wasn't great. Still on the kickoff, we have the next matchup, which is the WWE Cruiserweight title match. Champion Drew Gulak versus Tony Nese. Gulak hits the Cyclone Crash to retain. That's about it. Their match before, I liked whenever Gulak won the title. That was a great match at Stomping Ground, but this one, it was just okay. So from there on, we go back and forth to the panel, sharing more predictions and expectations for tonight, and they wrap it up. We go to the opening video package for Extreme Rules. It has a woman with super bright red lips and white pasty makeup on. It really looked similar to the intro to the Rocky Horror Picture Show to me. We then see a spinning wheel showing all types of match stipulations, like steel chairs, steel cage, gauntlets, etc. And this really got me anxious because I didn't realize this was the intro to the pay-per-view. I thought they were advertising an upcoming pay-per-view or an upcoming Monday Night Raw, something like that. Remember back in the day we had Raw Roulette with Eric Bischoff? I mean, we do have Bischoff coming back. That was amazing. I always loved the Raw Roulette shows because you really thought they were doing these at the spur of the moment, and I would love that. I missed that element of surprise where maybe we're going to see this type of match or this type, or for the heck of it, they spin the wheel and just like WCW back in the day, it lands on coal miner's glove match. Like, what the hell is that? Either way, it's something different that we haven't seen in a long time, and I would like to see that again. So we go to the first match on the night, and surprisingly, it is the no-holds-barred tag team match, Undertaker and Roman Reigns versus Shane McMahon and Drew McIntyre. We get a huge pop for The Undertaker. A very short pop for Roman, but surprisingly, he was not heavily booed as we expected for the Philadelphia crowd. But again, he was tag teaming with The Undertaker, and of course, Taker did get the bigger pop. So they announced that this is a no-holds-barred match with no DQ, no count-out, but the participants must still make tags. Why does that make a difference if you can't be disqualified? Just get in the ring and start brawling. And it didn't last very long. They did a few tags back and forth, and at times there was moments where Roman and Drew were wrestling outside the ring, Shane and Undertaker were wrestling inside the ring at the same time. So there were moments where it did kind of turn into just as we used to call them, Texas Tornado tag matches, So Roman and Drew, they start the match off, and then Taker chases Shane with a chair. Undertaker attempts a last ride to Shane on an announce table, but Elias comes out of nowhere and hits the Undertaker in the back with a guitar. Drew then hits a Claymore on both Roman and Undertaker. Shane then instructs Drew and Elias to lay Undertaker on the same announce table that Undertaker was going to try to put him through. Shane drops a flying elbow onto the Undertaker from the top rope through the table. Drew and Elias then set up Undertaker in the corner with a trash can, and Shane hits a coast-to-coast dropkick into the trash can. Roman then gets back in the ring and tries to help out Taker. Taker delivers chokeslams to both Shane and Elias. McIntyre tries to sneak in from behind on Undertaker, but Roman spears McIntyre. Roman then whips Shane into the Undertaker to try to pick him up into the tombstone, but he can't pick him up. They literally pause. Taker is shaking his head looking at Shane, and then you see Shane really jump to help Undertaker get him up for the tombstone. Undertaker delivers the tombstone, pins Shane, 1, 2, 3, and Roman and Taker are your winners. After the match, then, we see both Reigns and Undertaker in a stare down. Now, keep in mind first, as soon as the match ends and Undertaker gets the pin, they play Undertaker's music. Roman and Undertaker stare each other down. Undertaker then pats Roman on his chest, and you see him mouth the words, "This is your yard." And then we see them walk apart. So they then stop Taker's music and they play Roman Reigns' music, which did not get any applause. They then recap moments from the match, and when we go back to the ring, Undertaker is still in the ring, and they start playing his music again. Then we get the Undertaker kneel pose. He walks up the ramp, he does the look back to the crowd, and that's it. So nice opening match. There was a little bit of an extreme element with the announce table elbow drop, the coast-to-coast trash can, but you could tell they were holding back because there was going to be more in other matches later. It seems like they're trying to do like a PG-13 type of thing with this Extreme Rules show now, where they're told, like, okay, for this entire show, we get to have this many chair shots, this many kendo sticks, this many tables. Go. Spread it out as much as you can amongst all the matches for the night. And it waters it down. We then get a backstage interview with Becky and Seth, telling about how they both are going to retain their titles tonight. We then get a video package promo for Raw Reunion for next week's Raw, in which we see that HBK, Ric Flair, Stone Cold, Hogan, Nash, Hall, X-Pac, Boogeyman, Eric Bischoff, Kurt Angle, and more will be making appearances. So another Raw anniversary, similar to Raw 25, or is this an old school Raw? What are we doing here? I don't know. We go back to ringside. We got the Raw Tag Team title match, the Revival versus the Usos. At one moment, Scott Dawson and Jey Uso, they're on a top turnbuckle, and it looks like they're about to do a suplex to one another, and they both fell just hard. Dawson falls into the ring. Jey Uso fell onto the ring apron, onto the floor. It looked really rough. We had another nice moment where we see one of the Revivals do a superplex to an Uso, and then the other Revival member does a splash for a 2 count, but the other Uso comes in with a splash to break up that count. And then finally in the end, we get the Revival hitting the Shatter Machine, and they retain the tag titles. That was a very pleasant surprise. I was hoping they would retain, but wasn't 100% sure we were going to get that. Next up, we have Aleister Black versus Cesaro. This was a great match. If it was at an NXT TakeOver show, I think this would have torn the house down easily, but we were not disappointed. This match was very good. I really enjoyed it. Possible match of the night contender easily. So at one moment, we had Aleister Black going for double knees off of the turnbuckle, and Cesaro catches him in the air, throws him up, and then hits a forearm uppercut. That was wild. Cesaro then went for a springboard and usually follows up with another uppercut, but Aleister Black caught him with a jumping knee to the jaw. That looked brutal. But in the end, Aleister Black does connect with a Black Mass and gets the pin. 1, 2, 3. Very good match. I hope we see something from this. Maybe down the road we'll see them battling over the IC title, Intercontinental title of some sort, maybe even the world title one day. That'd be awesome. So we go backstage and we see R-Truth and Carmella hanging around, and they are hanging up wanted signs looking for Hornswoggle, aka Drake Maverick, and the 24/7 title. When out walks Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. Truth asks Alexa if she has seen Hornswoggle, and she says, why, yes, he's in the women's restroom, first stall on the left. And then that's when Carmella says, no, Truth, we gotta go. So they walk off. Alexa then hands Nikki a gift box that she was holding, which has an Alexa Bliss Twisted Coffee t-shirt that's been torn up. Nikki gets all excited, and they embrace and they hug. And then we see the NXT Tag Team Champions, the Street Profits, walk up. And they just do the same thing they've been doing on Raw, where they go, ladies and gentlemen, your next women's champ, and so forth. And it's like, I don't know why or what the point is of this. I don't understand it. They're the tag team champions in NXT. Just keep them on NXT. I don't see why they're hype men all of a sudden. It makes no sense. So we go back out to the ringside, and it is time for the SmackDown Women's title match. It is a handicap match. Bayley defending the title against Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. Once again, though, Alexa and Nikki must make tags. This is not a hardcore match of any kind, though. That's the one stipulation to keep in mind, is that it's still just a regular handicap match. But again, they must make tags. It's not like it's a 2-on-1 the entire time kind of thing. But they did announce that if Alexa and Nikki win the match, they will be co-champions, not just one of them getting the title. So Alexa and Nikki make frequent tags, and they work over Bayley with ease. Bayley does get Nikki in a leg submission, and Alexa goes for a double knee drop on Bayley's face, but she misses, and Bayley ends up catching her in a crossface and still has the leg submission applied to Nikki at the same time. That was a nice spot. Alexa then goes for the Twisted Bliss, but Bayley gets her knees up. Alexa tags in Nikki, who goes for a double axe handle off the top rope, but Bayley hits her with a knee. Bayley then drops Nikki in the center of the ring, goes for an elbow drop, and gets the pin. So no Bayley to belly. We get an elbow drop as the deciding win move. So interesting. But Bayley retains the title, and where do we go from here? Who's going to challenge Bayley next? I'm pretty sure it's going to be Charlotte. We got SummerSlam coming up, so I'm guessing that's what they're going to do next. Next match, we have the last man standing match, Bobby Lashley versus Braun Strowman. This is the first time we've seen Strowman in 2 weeks since he was last seen being put into a back of an ambulance after driving Lashley through the back LED screen on the Raw stage. We did see Lashley on Raw the week later, and he looked fine, but you think about it, Braun did the move to Lashley through the LED screen. So technically Lashley should have been the one that we didn't see for the 2 weeks, but Braun comes out looking fine, no bandage, no taped up anything, just looks like he, always does. So of course this is a last man standing match, no rules, no count out, no DQ. The only way to win is to knock out your opponent to where they cannot get to their feet by the count of 10. And the fight goes everywhere. They went all across the arena, up into the stands, up into the concession area, everywhere. So they fight up the stairwells, up into the concession area. Braun does a suplex to Lashley into the t-shirt wall, and there were tons of fans surrounding the area. I was amazed at how many people went into the lobby to watch the little brief fight that they had out there. But that suplex to the wall, the wall itself is just the wall they have the t-shirts on when they're selling them at the tables, but Bobby Lashley is, a giant dude, and to take that suplex and then crash, almost on his head, that was a dangerous spot. They get back to the ringside area whenever Lashley spears Braun through the barricade. That was another dangerous spot because Braun lands on his back, going through the barricade, but he missed the steps by just inches with his head. He could have easily landed on the back of his head on the corner of the ring steps. That would have been really bad. Then we see Braun is on the other side of the barricade back into the audience, and Lashley leaps up to the barricade, springboards off onto Braun, and then Braun does a hip toss of Lashley onto the international commentators' tables. So again, they go up into the audience area, they fight some more into the second level, or the one level up, and they're fighting right above one of the entrance tunnels of the arena, not the one being used for the entrance of the matches, but it's just one of the entrance tunnels that you see in the corner of the arenas. And there's a gate, it looks like a small wooden gate that you would see on a farm, and it looks so fake. But Braun kicks it to where, it flies open, and I'm thinking, if this was a real gate that is always there at that spot in the arena, this is a lawsuit just waiting to happen, because there were like handicap seats available. Like you could see a spot where you could put like a wheelchair, and then there were a couple of folding chair seats there next to it. So it's like you could easily see somebody just leaning forward while they're watching a show and then just falling through that gate. So Braun picks up Lashley. He tries to pick him up once, and I don't know if they were just tired, beaten up, or just, they didn't get their motions in sync. But it seemed like Braun had struggled a little bit to lift up Lashley, which you're like, hey, isn't this the guy that flips 18-wheelers and ambulances and such? But also at the same time, if you saw this match, Braun, he is sweating like crazy. I mean, his shirt was drenched in sweat from all the stuff they had done. So easily, Lashley probably was just slipping and sliding off of his shoulder. But Strowman picks up Lashley and he power slams him off of the top, and they crash through, it looks like a flat board, and probably had an air mattress underneath it or something like that. But they crash through this giant box, and then the ref begins the count of 10. And by the time he gets to the 7 count, Braun crashes through the wall of the box, Hulk style, and is like, "Roar, I'm here!" And the crowd pops. The ref counts to 10. You don't even see Lashley. Lashley's buried under there somewhere, under the rubble. We don't see Lashley at all. And the ref counts to 10, and Braun is your winner. So they made Braun look really strong here. They're really trying to build him back up from everything they did to him from last year, and chances are he's going to get put back into the Universal title picture somehow. We then see Charlie Caruso, and she is looking amazing. Wow. She interviews AJ Styles in the club about AJ Styles' upcoming title match against Ricochet. Next up, we have the SmackDown Tag Team title triple threat match. Daniel Bryan and Rowan versus Heavy Machinery versus The New Day. So, New Day connects with the Midnight Hour on Daniel, and they win the tag titles. Why, when you have so many new tag teams and you're not using them properly, why do you keep putting tag belts on the New Day? It's just a waste of time. Break up the New Day. Push Big E as a monster. Send it Xavier packing. I just don't see anything in the guy. I don't know why anyone has any faith that he would be a good single star. But Heavy Machinery, they were so over in NXT. You hear that said so many times about NXT guys, but they were really over. Just push them. Give them a title run. What's the harm? Following this match, we see Paul Heyman come out to the top of the stage. He guarantees that Brock is cashing in tonight. So is that to make sure people don't turn off the show because they're not looking forward to the next few matches? Or are they thinking people are going to leave the arena early? Or is this just another tease from Heyman, because he's done that at previous pay-per-views, and he's done that on Raw as well, saying, hey, Brock Lesnar will be here next Monday. He's going to cash in, and then he never shows. All right, we go to the next matchup. Ricochet will be defending the U.S. title against AJ Styles. Styles has come out with the club at ringside. As Ricochet gets to the ring, before the bell even rings, the club attack Ricochet. The ref takes some time to let Ricochet collect himself, and then they begin the official match. Now, surprisingly, for most of the match itself, the club did not interfere. Now, Ricochet hits a nice springboard shooting star press from the outside apron onto Styles, but Styles' foot was under the bottom rope, preventing a 3 count, which thankfully Dawson was able to point out to the ref before making the 3 count. Ricochet then gets to the top rope to set up for a flying move, but Anderson causes a distraction to the ref, which allows Gallows to knock Ricochet off the top. Ricochet actually, he's still straddling the top turnbuckle. He's just bent forward, face down. At this point, though, AJ did not see the interference at all. He was laid out and didn't see what the club had done. He then goes over to Ricochet. He sets him up for the Styles Clash, and he jumps backwards, landing flat. The Styles Clash, yes. It was basically a reverse Styles Clash, just jumping backwards from the second turnbuckle. Very dangerous move again, because you've seen people who don't know, don't tuck your head when you're getting Styles clashed, and they get serious neck injuries. But it's a nice spot, and what do you know? 1, 2, 3, AJ Styles is your new United States champion. That was a smart move. The club is reformed. They need to have titles. So yes, I'm happy with this. Next up, we have Kevin Owens versus Dolph Ziggler in a Twitter war match. So the bell rings. Dolph slaps Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens hits Dolph Ziggler with a stunner, 1, 2, 3, and the match is over. That was it. Okay, does this mean that's the end of Ziggler now and he's going to go off to do his comedy tour that he was supposed to be doing? Afterwards, KO then gets on the mic and he says about how, Shane McMahon got what he had coming with the Undertaker and such. Is this leading up to another Kevin Owens versus Shane McMahon match? Are we going to see that at SummerSlam, I guess? Except now Shane's the heel, Owens is going to be the face. Okay, they really are pushing Owens in kind of a stone cold, against the authority, but clear babyface. They're really pushing him with that. And hello, he's using the stunner as his new finisher. All right, next up we have the WWE title match. Kofi Kingston defending against Samoa Joe. This match never picked up any momentum. It felt very flat to me. Kofi really looked like a mid-card here, and it showed how he's just not a top guy. I always felt he should have won the main title 10 years ago in 2009 easily, and he would have been super over. And I know he's still over with the kiddies, with the whole New Day crap, but the New Day crap has really killed his title reign, in my opinion. But this match itself, like, Joe is a great worker. He can work with anybody and make anyone look like $1 million. But Kofi just did not seem in the right place here. And I was ready to be like, you know what? Just give Joe the title. Give it, I want Joe to win the title anyways, but this is time to take the title off Kofi because this match was blah. Now, during the match, we hear dueling chants from the fans, not, let's go Kofi, let's go Joe. No, instead, it's, we want Lesnar, and then you'd hear others, not as strong, saying, no, we don't. But in the end, Kofi hits Trouble in Paradise and gets the pin. And that's it. Nothing really wow or exciting, but I was ready for Joe to get the win and get a title run. All right, we are at the main event. Winner take all Extreme Rules mixed tag team match for the WWE Raw Women's title and the WWE Universal title. Whew. That's a lot of words for one match. So we have the champions Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch versus Baron Corbin and Lacey Evans. Lacey Evans, she makes her entrance and she always wears like a fluffy skirt, and she gets onto the ring apron, takes off her skirt, and she turns around and bends over. The camera then zooms right in on her ass, which usually you don't see those kind of angles anymore in WWE. They kind of try to keep things a little more, kid-friendly. But the reason we're told later, once that she gets in the ring, which I didn't notice, okay, I'm enjoying the view, of course, but what she had done is on the back of her ring tights is on one ass cheek, it has an SE, on the next one it has a TH, so she has Seth embroidered on her ring attire. But really, at a quick glance, I would not have picked that up because I just did not see it. But then here we get the announcements that this is going to be a mixed tag team match. It is Extreme Rules, which means no DQ, no count out. The only way to win is by pinfall or submission. However, once again, the men can only face the men, the women can only face the women, and there are tags required. Okay, that's a lot of rules for an Extreme Rules, no DQ, no count out match. Now, when Becky and Seth come out, they are wearing similar matching attires, at least their color scheme is similar. Seth and Becky begin attacking Baron and Corbin with kendo sticks. Right away, you hear, we want Lesnar, no we don't chants. Yes, again, right away. Corbin then attacks Rollins with a steel chair. Becky makes a blind tag and runs outside the ring with a chair towards Lacey, who had also picked up a steel chair from under the ring. Becky kicks Lacey in the gut and then is about to hit her with the chair, but the chair that Lacey was holding, she tosses in the air when she was kicked. It flies out of her hand and it connects with Becky right in the face. Looked like it got her right on the right eye or temple, but Becky just shrugs it off and goes straight into hitting Lacey with the chair repeatedly, but it still was a blatant, botch right there. Becky then gets Lacey in the ring. She lays down a couple of steel chairs and she hits a Beck-sploder on Lacey Evans. Lacey then turns things around. She's able to get up on the second turnbuckle. She does her springboard moonsault where she jumps from the second turnbuckle onto the top turnbuckle backwards and then hits a moonsault. Very nice. Rollins and Becky then pull out two tables and they set them up on the entrance side of the outside of the ring. And then Corbin and Lacey begin attacking Rollins with kendo sticks. Corbin and Lacey deliver simultaneous choke slams to Becky and Seth. Then outside the ring, Corbin and Lacey try to double suplex Rollins through one of the tables, but Becky jumps in and helps Rollins reverse it, and they end up double suplexing Lacey and Corbin onto the entrance ramp. Rollins and Becky then lay Corbin and Lacey on each of the tables. Rollins frog splashes Corbin from the ring post. Becky drops a leg drop onto Lacey from the second turnbuckle. Corbin then hits the end of days on Becky. Yes. And Rollins gets super pissed. He unloads on Corbin with chairs and kendo sticks. He then hits the curb stomp 3 times in a row and then pins Corbin, and they both retain their titles. And as soon as the match ends, you hear Lesnar's music hits, and out come Lesnar and Paul Heyman. Heyman is carrying the Money in the Bank briefcase over his head. Lesnar gets in the ring. He hits not 1, but 2 German suplexes in a row. Heyman then walks over to the ref, hands the briefcase, says he's cashing in. The announcer makes the official call saying that Lesnar is cashing in the briefcase. The bell rings. Lesnar picks up Rollins. He hits him with an F5, pins him 1, 2, 3. Lesnar is the new 3-time Universal Champion. Wow. Talk about a total squash on Rollins. Okay, but let's talk about it real quick. We got minutes into the main event. We have the "we want Lesnar, no we don't" chants happening. Should that not already give you a sign of how bad this Rollins title run was? Okay, it was going fine early. Well, actually, all of last year, Rollins was the man, but they kept on, of course, pushing Roman. Not until Roman went away while he was battling, leukemia, which was a real thing, and I'm glad he was able to recover, of course. But not until we got Roman out of the picture for a while were we able to finally get Rollins to be, focused as the main guy. But they did a bad thing as far as how they got him to win the Rumble, and then how he, got the title win and all that. It was just, everything was not done organically again. They just always have to muddle things and make things more difficult than they should be. And that's the problem with a lot of the storylines, unfortunately. But there you have it. That is the whole recap of WWE Extreme Rules 2019. What'd you think? Let me know. Share your comments. Share your thoughts. What do you think they should do from here? How was the show? If you watched it, leave me your comments and your thoughts on the matches, the outcomes. Overall now, like I said, this was not a bad pay-per-view. So in a short recap, the few things I didn't like going into this pay-per-view was I didn't like the Undertaker and Roman Reigns being put into a tag team match because they made no real effort to explain why they formed a tag team 3 weeks ago, except for the obvious reason that they did not want Roman Reigns to get completely booed out of the building because it was in Philly, and the Philadelphia crowd doesn't like him. But yeah, they very poorly built up this tag match. It was just not good. The match itself was okay, but it was a hardcore match, so you had nice spots in there to get the crowd to pop with the table crashing and trash cans and such. I did not agree at all with their decision to put the tag belts on the New Day again. It's like their 5th or 6th or 7th, I don't know how many times, but none of their title reigns have been memorable for me. It's just been annoying. It's not funny or entertaining. It's just annoying. And now we have Kofi and Xavier and Big E all with championships right now. And I'm just not excited. I'm like, no, the New Day should have been broken up, should have been ended. I'm just tired of it. And they're just going in circles. It makes no sense. Now, let's talk about the last match, okay? Or the final match, I should say. Not the last match that was advertised. Let's talk about the last match. Brock Lesnar versus Seth Rollins. It was a matter of minutes. We saw 3 moves. We saw 2 German suplexes, an F5, and a pinfall. And that was it. So why did they squash Rollins so bad? Yeah, he had a tag match that was an Extreme Rules match, prior to this, but he really didn't get that much abuse put to him, and in the end, he was full amped up, destroying Corbin. So it's not like Rollins was really defeated already. And yeah, you're gonna say, oh, but here comes Lesnar, the unstoppable beast and whatnot. It's like, yeah, but he squashed Lesnar practically at WrestleMania. So it just didn't make sense to me to have Rollins get completely buried after that tag match. I'm glad that Becky Lynch is still the women's champ, so I'm glad they made sure to wrap up this match and that way Becky would retain her title, and then Rollins would lose just his title against Lesnar and such. I was really worried they were going to do Baron Corbin and Lacey get the pin or submission or whatever, and then they win the titles, and then immediately after that, Lesnar cashes in on Corbin and gets the Universal title. Because no, I just don't need to see Corbin with a Universal title hold under his belt, even if it's just a matter of seconds. So yeah, that was just weird to me. I didn't understand why Lesnar gets the win here. Are we just going to see a rematch at SummerSlam with Rollins and Lesnar? Because I thought there were no automatic rematches. I mean, somebody else is going to fight Lesnar? Is it going to be a triple threat, a fatal four-way? I mean, what's going on here? I don't want to see a rematch is what I'm getting at. I'd like to see something else. So share with me your thoughts. Who do you want to see challenge Lesnar for the Universal title? I'd like to see someone challenge him on Raw and actually have a match, but you know that's not going to happen. Lesnar's not going to wrestle on free TV. You know, he's only going to do it on the live streams or on the pay-per-views or whatever. So that's it. So like I said, those are just my few complaints that I had about the show. Otherwise, I really enjoyed Cesaro and Aleister Black, which I knew I would. Ricochet and AJ Styles was a great match as well. I have to say, I enjoyed Kevin Owens and Ziggler because it was just out of nowhere the way they did a quick stunner and that was it. So I was shocked and intrigued. So I'm curious to see more. The Bayley, Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross stuff, it was okay, but the one spot I enjoyed was when Bayley was able to get them both in a submission at the same time, which was great. And I am glad that Bayley retained because I don't want to see Nikki and Alexa as co-champions. I thought that was ridiculous when they did Lay Cool years ago, and they did that with the Divas Butterfly belt. But yeah, come on, let's see somebody else challenge Bayley and get some real storylines going. I'd like that. All right, everyone. Well, that is it for this episode of Spoiler Recap and Results. I hope you did enjoy the show if you watched it, and you will leave me comments below to let me know what you thought about the actual show and how do you think they did and where are we going from here. Real quick before I wrap it up, I will say my grade for this pay-per-view, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 actually, because I did enjoy pretty much most of the show except for those few little complaints, but I did enjoy the show and I was surprised. I'm hoping we'll see some better pay-per-views as well, so let's keep up the momentum because they love momentum always. All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll talk to y'all later. Remember to me, wrestling will always be real, and I'm signing out.